I'm Tom Gaiman. I'm from Troop 171. It's nice to meet you. And would you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, my name is J. Matthew Lissner. I'm a retired colonel from the United States Army.
Great. Um, so when did you join the military and why did you join?
Uh, I joined the military uh, January 7th of 1988. Um, I joined because I got to a point in my life where I had to kind of make a decision. I had been out of school for a while and I was working and teaching and coaching, and I kind of had a choice whether to go pursue my PhD or join the military because at that time, the oldest age you could join was 30, and that's how old I was.
Okay, interesting. So where did you serve and which wars, if any?
Um, I served 8 years in active duty, and during that time, we were in Operation Just Cause, which is down in Panama.
Okay.
Um, I left active duty and then went into the National Guard, like traditional M Day, in the Arkansas National Guard. I did that for 3 years. And then I got into the Army Reserve as a AGR, which is Active Guard Reserve. So I was basically on active duty for 20 more years before I retired.
Wow. So what kind of experiences do you have? Like any you enjoyed or didn't enjoy? Favorites?
Well, there's always some some loss. You have soldiers that get killed or get injured really badly, sometimes in training, more often than not during the conflicts we've had for the last 20 years. But overall, it was if I could still be in, I'd still be in. If I could do it all over again, I would do it all over again. The people I met, the places that I've been, the experiences that I've learned from both good and bad, I just don't know if they could be replaced any other way than by doing that.
Yeah. So you don't have any regrets. You would totally do it again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Great. So any specific like stories that you'd like to share or favorite places?
Let's see. So my my first duty assignment was at Fort Ord, California, which is right on the Monterey Bay, and I thought that was the most fantastic location of the places that I've been stationed so far. I mean, it was close to the mountains, it was on the ocean, the weather. I mean, it was really, really a great place to be stationed. It was a great unit. Um, some of the odd occasions where in the middle of combat, where passage of lines between two units, and one unit's radio operator with his boss sat down next to me to give me some information, and it was a guy that I hadn't seen since middle school,
Well,
and we had about 30 seconds to say hi, how are you? Well, good luck, and I haven't seen him or talked to him since. So
yeah.
that was kind of an unusual experience. I've got an opportunity to fly an airplane. I got an opportunity to pilot a hovercraft.
Well,
So just things like that. That I mean, yeah, way way more good experiences than bad experiences.
yeah, that sounds interesting. Um, so how do you think your service impacted like the country, the world?
Oh, my service individually, I'm not sure if it impacted the nation or the world very much, but I would say during the time that I was serving in the army, um, there's always been conflicts. There's always going to be conflicts, and we, even in times where there's not a lot of funding, even times when we have a lot of difficulty recruiting, our military, our army gets out there and gets the job done, because it's still a volunteer force. So people maybe not as many as we should have or would like to have, but there's still a lot of people volunteering to do those jobs. And that kind of makes me proud to be part of that.
Yeah, for sure. So, what advice do you have for the younger generation now, based on your experience and just general life?
Yeah, I would. I'm I'm kind of one of those people that I could probably, if they decided to bring the draft back, I probably wouldn't be too opposed to that. I think I've always thought that, all of us Americans should spend some time in service to the nation, whether it's maybe in the political realm or military, or but you should, could be firefighter, something to the community like that. Um, I would ask the youth to look at the different services, look at the different components, meaning whether that's the active duty guys, the National Guard guys, or the reserve components, because a lot of people that I've worked with in the reserve components are just as qualified, just as experienced, just as smart as some of the folks I've met on active duty, and they get a whole nother world of experience in their civilian jobs. It's not the easiest life, but a lot of people have done very, very well at it, and they have served the nation well by doing that. So, if you want to serve, there's a way to do it. There certainly is.
Yeah. So, do you still see the impacts of your service like throughout your life, like the benefits of it?
You mean for me personally?
Yeah, for you
Oh,
personally.
oh, oh
Like,
no, absolutely. You know, I'm I've had a lot of surgeries on my body, so I'm not what I used to be. But the physical fitness, the state of physical fitness I was in, um, partly due to requirement, partly due to that's what I wanted to do.
uh,
Uh, that arena of health and physical fitness was good. The experiences that I've had in different leadership positions and learning from other leaders, you get to see such a vast number and gradient of good leaders in the military that sometimes you get in a job, whatever it is, and you have a small circle of people that you might work 20 years with, and you only get to meet a handful of people. In the military, you get to meet all kinds, so you get to see role models, you get the chance to be a role model. um, I like the fact that we're always going to school for something. I mean, we're always learning. We're always going to some school, whether it's a technical school, an admin school, a weapons school, something. Um, there's never a lack for if you're thirsty for and hungry for education and knowledge, you're going to get it.
interesting. Yeah. Um, so otherwise, are you still tied to the military, would you say, or participating in, say, Cumberland County at all?
Well, yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, I retired 5 years ago. I taught ROTC as a contractor for 3 years, so I was definitely still tied to the military like that. I have a son who is in ROTC, and I was just nominated and accepted as an Army Reserve ambassador. So now I'm going to be greatly tied back into at least the Army Reserve, but the Army in general. Looking at recruiting, looking at how we can help service members and their families, and particularly to educate people about how the Army Reserve works compared to the active and the National Guard.
Yeah, cool. Um, so is there anything else you'd like to add? Like uh anything else you'd like to share?
Well, I'd like to share, as I said earlier, I didn't come in the Army until I was 30. Even both my parents had been both World War II and Korean vets. They encouraged me. They didn't shove it down my throat. They encouraged me, and it kind of took a while, but I didn't do it because I wanted to get student loans paid off, which is a thing. I didn't do it because I needed a job. I was working. I did it because that's when it took me to feel that patriotic desire. Since my parents had done it, when I was younger, I didn't want to do that. It just didn't hit me that way. And when I got older, I said, that is something. I had no idea how long I would stay in. I ended up staying in for 29 years. So um, I would say don't ever completely say, no, I'll never do it.
Mhm.
That's what I would say to people of, just about any age. I don't know what the max age is now, but I'm sure it's at least 30. But, whether you go in for a short tour as enlisted, or do part active duty and then get back in the reserve or the guard, a lot of people have done it that way, and they continue to serve. Or some, just serve their initial tour and then they're done with it. But at least they've gotten that opportunity. And I think everybody I've ever talked to said they absolutely got a lot out of it. And many people say, I wish I hadn't gotten out when I did.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have. So I'd like to say thank you again so much for this interview and thank you for your service, sir.